Good.
Hopefully it's good.
I think
Yeah.
so.
I mean,
I think it's good.
let's find out. Are you realistic? Because that's what we need to find out, because it's time to be realistic. And this is Conversation Corner 135.
We don't really
something
know.
like that. I don't
We're
know.
getting up there.
Yeah. And
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
And-
we know you missed us. We've been gone for like 2
It's
weeks.
true. It's been a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that we're together. I was telling Levi earlier, he's like my salad
Oh,
and I'm like his
jeez.
dressing. You know, it's just you can't have one without the other because it's just plain and it's old and it's sometimes gross. But if you put them together,
Yeah.
it's good stuff.
All
so
right.
hopefully it's good stuff for you. Hopefully you're gonna get your salad and your dressing today.
Moving on.
Boom. So today we wanted to talk to you about something pretty specific,
Yeah.
really, because in case you haven't noticed and in case you don't know, Levi, what has happened to the market?
It has changed and shifted, and we've been talking about that ad nauseum for a couple of months now, leading up to what's going on. So if you guys are following us, it's no surprise that this was happening and going to happen. So yeah, we're there. The shift has happened. Interest rates are steadily on the rise. This last week or this current week, we've seen the bond market absolutely explode. There's been a massive sell-off. So that's driven interest rates. The bond market specifically has raised almost 20 points in this five-day period of this week, which is huge difference in interest rate pricing. So that's going to push purchasing power even further down for would-be homeowners and people who have been pre-approved already that haven't quite found their house yet. That's going to put them into a category where they need to refresh their pre-approval, see what their purchasing power is again, and revisit that as we move into the new year.
So they need to be realistic.
They need to be very realistic.
Bam.
The shift is here and things are changing rapidly.
Yeah, and I would say we've got a couple stories to share with you guys just to kind of get you aware of how, I would say, deep this can actually go.
Yeah.
So basically, I have a listing right now. It was a seller that we were hoping to get listed in the summer when it was still kind of hot. We didn't get listed until the very end of summer. And we've come down 31,000 in price reductions, still no offer. House is immaculate, it's in great condition, it's one owner. The problem is we've been experienced not only going into the winter,
Right.
as it always slows down here in Nebraska, but now we're experiencing this shift with our market and these buyers. So what we're seeing is a lot more showings.
Yep.
And a lot more buyers coming through, but nobody writing. And
Yep.
why are they not writing?
They're
Levi?
getting picky. They're getting
Yeah.
pickier. They want different things. Because of a lot of what had happened earlier this year, there's a lot of buyers who are kind of ambivalent about the process and about what they want specifically, and they're being a little bit more picky choosy, which is definitely a good thing if you're a buyer, right? Get into the house that you want. But the reason that kind of creates an issue in the real estate market is because we have a little bit more inventory now, actually, than we've had for the last handful of years. In addition to that, with interest rates on the rise and buyers being more picky, it means average market times going up, right? Sellers are no longer able to get 5, 10, 15 grand above ask. There's some
Or even ask.
Right, or even
Right.
ask. There's some purchase prices that are still really competitive, but those aside, the majority are really experiencing this shift for the sellers, definitely a negative. It's a big shock for them, and we're finding, I'll let Ryan speak into, we're finding a lot of sellers who are really kind of stuck in this mindset of, oh no, my house should sell in 2 days or in a week, and I should be able to get this for it because my neighbor sold his 3 months ago and got 10 grand above and blah, blah, blah. Guys, one thing to keep in mind, every single scenario is unique. Whether you're a buyer or a seller, every single scenario is unique. You're never going to be able to get the same deal as your neighbor, your friend, whether that's with your loan, your new purchase, or your sale of your house, because every situation is completely different.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because this is where I talk about being realistic, especially with our sellers. And the point of that being is, one, you want to price your house right now. And if you don't price it right, you're going to sit. And that's what we're starting to see with a lot of houses. I'm going to share a couple stories here. Just this last weekend, we took buyers out and we wrote up on one of the properties. We wrote up $40,000 below ask price because there was nothing to support that price. And they had bought the house for $335,000 2 years ago, and they were asking $399,000. And I was like, you're going at an appreciation of 9.5% per year of increase, and that hasn't even happened when the market was super hot. And so don't be offended of why we're coming down so low. We're coming in at where we think we need to be, and that was even at a 3.5-5% increase of appreciation. And so they rejected our offer. Our buyers were like, forget it, we'll move on. We moved on to a different house, and we wrote up on a house that was priced correctly. So my point is this: if you're a seller that's out there and you're thinking your house is worth a certain amount, first of all, get with an agent that is going to be realistic with you and not just tell you that, oh yeah, we could probably list for that. You don't want a probably, you want a should. We should list for this because this is what the market's doing. You want an agent that's going to be upfront and honest with you, and it doesn't quite frankly matter what your neighbor sold their house for, because your neighbor might have made updates that you haven't made updates to, or your neighbor might have sold when it was really hot and now the market is really cold and things have slowed down. So that's kind of the story that I wanted to share with you guys, because I think that's the realistic thing that people need to hear right now, is that it's not as it was. And so what do we do now moving forward in this market, in this shift, in those things?
Realistically, you want to stay competitive. That's the thing. You want to work with an awesome agent. You want to make sure that they're pricing your house and giving you the best advice possible. I mean, look, if you're a seller, it's this guy's goal to get you the most amount of money for your property. Not only on the financial side, because the higher he sells the house for, more money he makes, but also the more money you make, right? So no agent wants to do a price reduction, but you have to be realistic. If your property's not selling, especially if you have a need to move, or you're looking to be contingent or anything like that with a purchase or a sale, and you have a need to move, it's the most important thing that you stay competitive, that you work with your agent, you trust their advice, that's what they're here for, and you listen to them throughout the process to guide you through these steps. And then, if you get into a tough spot where the house is sitting several weeks, maybe even longer, a month even, then you have that conversation. Hey, what do we do? Is there something we can retool? And maybe bring the price down a little bit, get a different net of buyers, a different purchase price of buyers in there.
And if you're a seller, here's the 3 things that you need to know when you're selling your house. 3 things are going to sell your house. Your location is going to sell your house, the condition of your house is going to sell your house, and the price. So if your location is good and your condition is good, then it's your price. Regardless of what you think, you've got to take the emotion out of it, and you've got to look at it from a realistic standpoint and say, okay, what do we need to do to get this thing sold? And finally, I've been having sellers that are like, okay, what do we need to do? Well, we need to do a $10,000 price reduction. Okay, let's do it. Because they trust me, but they're also seeing the trends now of like, okay, we're probably not going to get what we wanted to get out of it based off of the numbers that we saw this last summer, but we need to get our house sold. And so they're starting to get realistic about, okay, instead of paying, because here's the other thing. If you sit on the market for 6 months, rather than coming down on a price reduction where you could have sold 6 months ago, you've just paid that difference. Does that make sense? You've paid that difference in making 6 more months of mortgage payments on that price and on that house, when you could have reduced it $10,000 and it's the same difference. I hope that makes sense. But some people don't think like that, or don't think that far down to actually see that difference there. So that's our conversation corner. That's
hopefully that was helpful, because it's our interest to work in your guys' best interest. So hopefully you get value out of these videos. We'll always bring you new information, updated information with our conversation corner. So please definitely stay tuned. Let us know if you have any comments or questions rather in the section below. Comments.
Come on, spit it out.
I can't. It's Friday. Let us know if you have any questions down below in the comments section. We'll do our best to get back to you. Send us a private message if you want to get together. Chat about mortgage or real estate. We're happy to help. Anything else you got?
I got nothing else. Coffee on us if you want to sit down and talk about your goals in real estate. If you're thinking about buying or selling, or know someone that is in the next year, we would love to pay for coffee, sit down, and help you lay out those goals in that
Right.
time frame. So,
No doubt.
yeah,
Happy Friday, y'all. CC.
have a good one.
Stay warm out there. It's getting
It's
cold.
true. It's true.